really everybody should want to hear that, because that is just like, it's unbelievable.
So unbelievable. You almost think this can't be real. She made this up. If I heard somebody tell me this story, I'd be like, that did not happen. You're lying.
Dude, it's insane. The thing is, I probably have forgotten some of it, so I actually do want to hear it again. Like, I remember the main points.
Yeah.
Jesus. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine being in your shoes, but I also can't imagine, like, being her and, like, thinking that was even somewhat okay.
Okay. Listen, I'm just going to tell it, and then you can use this at a later date.
Okay.
This is the story of the worst date ever. Possibly ever. I'm going to go on a brand and say ever.
It's way worse than any date I have ever been on.
Okay. So 5 years ago, I don't know. I was online dating. I met a girl on Plenty of Fish. She was cute. We got along well. We talked for hours, like, on the phone, which is weird because I hate talking on the phone. But, like, she was just really easy to talk to. We got along really well. It was just kind of one of those, you meet them and you just click, right? So we decided to go on a date. She's never really dated a girl before, but she said, she's interested. She said she'd been with a girl before. She'd hooked up with her, like, best friend a few times drunkenly. And so she's kind of interested in exploring that avenue. So we decided to go on a date. She picks me up. We go to dinner. Conversation's still flowing. It's not really too awkward. First dates tend to be kind of awkward, but, like, we're still getting along. Conversation's not forced. She's cute. She says I'm cute. I mean, I am. I've got my game flowing. I'm making jokes. I'm making her laugh. Having a good time. It seems the connection we had online has transferred over to person. During dinner, we both decided not to get drinks. We have a conversation and you say, let's not, like, get drunk. Let's not really drink. Like, maybe have one, because we were going to something later. So, like, maybe we'll have one later just so that we can have kind of like an authentic night where, we vibe together and we know that the chemistry we're feeling is because it's what we're feeling and it's not the alcohol making us feel it. So after dinner, we get in her car and she calls her best friend who we're meeting up with, which is fine. So her best friend has tickets to a comedy show. And so she's like, I'm going to call her, see where she's at. That's fine. No big deal. The comedy show doesn't start for another hour. And she's like, okay, my best friend's going to meet us at this bar that's like a block from my house. Do you want to go just to the bar, grab one drink, talk and chill while we wait? Yeah, sure, no problem. So we park her car at her house and then walk like the block to the bar. We get inside, we get one drink. We're still vibing, still talking and laughing, and she thinks I'm cute and my game is strong. And I'm telling you, like, I've never had a first date this successful in my life, y'all. I'm just saying, pulling out all the not even all the moves. I'm just being my charming self. And she offers to braid my hair, and I love my hair being braided. So, she does that. It looks good. She says I look cuter, whatever. We're vibing. We're having a good time. Her best friend arrives, and her best friend brings her boyfriend, which is fine. We knew it was kind of a double date thing. And then her boyfriend's got a friend with him. So there's like a fifth wheel, which is kind of awkward, but it's whatever. We greet each other. We move to a table. Her friend gets a pitcher of beer and they, are all drinking it and sharing it. We still have some time to kill before the show. So she's like, is it all right if we just hang out here? And I'm like, yeah, totally fine. So they're sharing a pitcher and she goes, is it all right if I just have one beer with my friend? I haven't seen her in like 3 weeks. I'm like, totally fine. Just have one beer. I mean, we've been spacing it out. It's not like she's pounding shots or anything. And she's being really sweet and, considerate. She's not leaving me out of the conversation. You know how it is, like, when you meet somebody and you're the only one that, like, they're the only person and it's like their group of friends and you can just, like, so easily feel left out. Like, it wasn't like that. She was, like, including me. She was checking on me, like, are you okay? Is this okay? She wanted to step outside with her best friend while her best friend had a smoke. They needed to talk about something. She's like, is that okay? Are you going to be okay here? And I said, that's totally fine. It's cool. We're vibing. We've even, kissed a couple times. Whatever. It's cool. My point is, it's going well, right? So it's time to move on to the comedy show. We get into her best friend's car. Her best friend's only had one drink, so I let her drive. Whatever. I don't know where we're going. So we sit in the back. Her best friend's driving. Her best friend's boyfriend's in the passenger seat, and then it's the friend, and then her in the middle, and then me. And, we're still vibing in the back seat. Hand on the leg, sharing some kisses. They start passing around a pipe. Live in Colorado. It's legal there, so that's fine. She offers me some. I said, no thanks. I don't partake. She's like, is it all right if I have a hit or two? And I said, fine, do you. It's fine. She's still whatever. We get to the comedy show, park outside. They finish smoking their bowl. And she's just like, are you still doing okay? Are you fine? I was like, yeah. Are you good? She's like, yeah, I'm totally good. Whatever. Still going great. We get inside the comedy club. We sit down. And the show starts and a waiter comes up and says, there's a 2-drink minimum. Everybody has to have 2 drinks. I was like, well, shit, I didn't know that. So I buy 2 drinks and she buys 2 drinks, but I don't drink mine. I leave it at the one that I had in the bar an hour and a half ago. I give mine to the boys. I think I gave them to the boys. I think she drank one and then gave another one away. Maybe. No, she drank hers. Yep, I remember now. She definitely drank more than the agreed upon alcohol, but you know what? She's an adult. She makes her own decisions, and it's the first time meeting her, so, whatever. And I can kind of start to tell midway through the comedy show, she's the mixture of the alcohol and the weed. She's starting to get a little into that kind of, she's had enough stage. So the comedy shows end, we're going outside and we're talking about what to do next. And I'm like, I'd be good to go home. That's fine. She's like, yeah, I'd be good to go home too. And then her best friend is like, I want to go dancing. And the boys are like, yeah, let's go dancing. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go dancing. I hate going to clubs. I'm stuck. I realize I'm stuck because she drove. Her best friend drove. I was like, can you swing by, drop me off or whatever? And she's like, no, let's just go for like an hour. And if you're not having fun, we'll go home. And I was like, fine. By this time, I can tell everybody's drunk and stoned but me. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to drive because I'm not going to get in a car with everybody messed up. It took me like 10 minutes to convince her friend to let me drive her car. She was like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm not getting in the fucking car if you're driving. And she didn't, my date didn't even back me up. She's like, just get in. I'm like, no. At this point, I'm starting to get annoyed. I'm ready for the night to be over with. And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I will get to the club, sit there for 10 minutes, and then call somebody to come pick me up. I don't know. At this point, I'm just like, I don't really know how I'm going to get out of this situation. This is not the worst part of the date, by the way.
Okay. No, there's just been red flags so far.
A few red flags starting to pop up. So I finally get into the car and I realize it's a stick, which I'm really shit at driving sticks, but I can drive sticks. I've gotten better. So I get in, I start up the car, everybody piles in. And to my surprise, the person sitting in the passenger seat is not my date, but my date's best friend's boyfriend's friend. The guy who's least supposed to be there. The fifth wheel is my passenger. So in the back seat is my date, her best friend, and her best friend's boyfriend. You know how best friends are when they get drunk together, especially when they're girly, they're like woo girls. These were woo girls for sure. Giggly and laughy and annoying. They were annoying drunk. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely not dealing with this bullshit anymore. I'll get to the club. I'll make sure they're fine. I don't know. I'll call a fucking Uber or something.
And remember from the beginning of the story that this girl has drunkenly hooked up with her best friend before.
Yeah, that's her only girl on girl.
Yes, I'm just having people remember that this is the same person.
Yeah, this is the same person.
The same best friend.
Yeah, same best friend. And they're drunk in the backseat of the car. So I'm driving the stick terribly. They're giggling and being fucking idiots in the backseat. And the friend next to me, he's trying to be conversational, oh, how long have you known each other? Blah, 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 this and that. And I think he could tell pretty quickly by my face and general annoyedness that this was a date. And he looked at me and then looked into the back and looked at me and he's like, oh, were you guys on a date? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I didn't know. I wouldn't have come if I knew that. And I was like, it's fine. And he was like, how long have you been dating? I was like, this is the first one. He's like, oh, so he already knows this is bad. Driving along, they're giggling. I hear the unmistakable sound of kissing. I glance back in the rearview mirror, right? And her best friend are making out. Whatever. I'm not really fucking surprised. Girl best friends drunk together make out. That happens, right? At this point, I've already just accepted that the date's over. I'm not pursuing the night any longer. Not that it's saying I was gonna be putting out or anything like that, but that definitely was off the table now, I was done. I was ready to go home. So they're giggling, they're kissing, blah, 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 blah. We're driving along. I had to go all the way across town. It was like a 15-minute drive. And then it gets quiet. And I'm like, what the? And I'm driving a stick uphill, so I've got to concentrate. And we get to a red light, and I hear whispers. I hear, yeah, baby, do it. And I was like, what the fuck? So I turned around, didn't even look in the mirror. I turned full ass around to see what was happening in the back seat. And what do my eyes see? I see my date with her best friend's boyfriend's dick balls deep in her mouth, giving him head like a fucking champion. And the best friend is pushing her head up and down, saying, yeah, take it, eat that, suck that dick, whatever you say, whatever fucking people say. What the fuck do I do at this point? We're halfway to our destination. It's like midnight. They're drunk and high. I'm not even in my own car. I'm stunned. I'm fucking stunned. So I think I just went into shock a little bit, and I drove the rest of the way to the club that we were going to with almost silent backseat. The only thing I could hear was slidey sex noises. I didn't look back again because I didn't want to. I didn't want to relive that horrific image. I got to the club and I parked the car and I got out and left them to fog up all the windows, and I handed the keys to the friend, and he's like, are you coming inside? And I said no, and he's like, are you okay? And I said no, and I walked down the street and I called a friend. I woke her ass up and I said, will you please come get me? And she said, are you okay? And I said, nope, I'll tell you all about it. And she came and picked me up, and that is the worst date in the history of dates.
It is, and it shows how good of a person you are.
I hear that a lot.
Because if I would have turned around and saw that, I would have just pulled the car off to the side. I would have gotten out. I would have fucking yeeted those keys somewhere, so they would have had to go find them, and I would have found a different way home.
People are always like, why did you keep driving? I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. What do you do? This is not a situation you can prepare yourself for.
Oh, no. So she's drunk, making out with her best friend. That's kind of like, it's not like, oh, it's going to progress to literally having a threesome in the car. You wouldn't think that. You'd just be like, oh, they're drunk and like making out.
Yeah, it happens. I've seen it so many times.
She was in love with her best friend.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. And she was taking advantage of the fact that her best friend only liked to sleep with her when she was drunk, and then that now she has a boyfriend. Because the whole thing was, I found out later, because she texted me the next day and was like, I made an ass of myself. I'm so sorry. I don't know how I can apologize or whatever. I found out basically since her best friend got that boyfriend, they hadn't been hooking up and they hadn't barely been seeing each other. And so she was like taking advantage of the fact that she wanted to still have sex with her best friend because she was in love with her by like offering to like join into like a threesome with them. Like that was the only chance she was getting now to hook up with her best friend. So she took it.
Wow, she was on a date.
She was on a date with somebody that like it was going well. It's not like it was a shitty date and she was like, fuck this bitch, I'm just gonna make out with whoever I want.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Moral of the story is, don't date crazy bitches from Plenty of Fish. Wouldn't it be funny if like she was listening and she'd be like, oh my god,
that was me.
That was me. I'm the crazy bitch from Plenty of Fish. Wow, I really was a bitch. No, I don't know.
Not long after Janie and I actually became friends.
Yeah, you got a very early sneak peek into the hot mess of my life.
Yeah. Dude, you had awesome dating adventures though that were just incredible.
Dude, Tinder and online dating is wild. It is wild, y'all. Some of these girls that I would talk to, Jesus Christ.
I loved when you would send me screenshots of stuff. It would just literally be like just a normal like, hey, how are you type of conversation. Good, you, like that. And then it would just immediately go straight to 100.
Yeah.
Are you into choking?
This might sound a little forward, but I really am looking for someone to choke me. Would you be into that? Like literally 5 messages in. Like, what the Y'all, I am never dating again. It's a nightmare. I'm so glad I don't have to do it ever again. So that's my terrible date story. Honestly, I kind of want to hear other people's terrible date stories.
Yeah, share them below.